Welcome to Rogers TV's special presentation. I'm Gonzuela Bastarache, and in this show, we're at the Humanity Project farm near Salisbury. Right now, this shelter is home to approximately 20 guests. We'll meet the founder, Charlie Burrell, but first, let's meet some of the guests.
Honestly, I've had 4 months in before off fentanyl, and this time getting sober is the only time I've actually had days where I haven't actually even thought of drugs.
Tell us about some of the challenges that you had faced before coming here.
Homelessness, addiction, mental health, struggling with my family and stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't good at all.
Tell us about your life before coming to the farm.
I'm addicted to pretty much everything, but mainly fentanyl and any type of opiate. So, but I've done prison time. I've done lots of things like that. I've done jail time. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just I was on the street, you know what I mean? I was not this person. I was a homeless person, I guess you could call it. People that you see on the side of the road there, that was me. So don't get too much worse.
What was life like before you both came here?
Hell.
Hard, emotional, physically draining. You always feel angry. You always have that
Always on the go.
Always on the go, always in fight or flight, right? You're always in survival mode. You're always thinking of what's next, who's next. It's not a stable environment at all whatsoever. Even being in the shelter systems is crap. It's horrible.
Even the people that are on the streets, just to think that was us, almost 5 months ago, right?
Right.
If we weren't here, I would have been dead within 2 months. Guaranteed. The drugs were getting worse and worse. When we came here, we were poisoned with rat poison.
Yeah, it was nuts.
So this place changes everybody.
Saved lives.
And before coming here, what was your life like?
Chaos. I found myself in the streets of Moncton, coming from a place so far away. My family's all back home in Saskatchewan, so yeah, it was chaos. I was living on the streets, and I was lost, and I came out here and I found myself again. So
It's being on the streets. You're not always around each other. You're not always knowing what's going on. He was ODing, and I didn't even know. I wouldn't even know because he wouldn't even remember. So I could have just lost my husband and not even known about it, because of being foolish and just taking off. You know what I mean? That was just so foolish. I think of that now, and it scares me. And I'm just thankful and blessed that we're here now, because that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
It's not a life for any of us.
It's not a life for anybody.
They all have their own bed, mini fridge, little area for them to sleep in, heat, air conditioning.
This might be a difficult question, but could you profile the average guest here?
I would say a lot of the people, and not just here, but a lot of the people on the streets have been subject to a lot of neglect, abuse, childhood traumas that come along with just living on the streets. That's why it's so important to not have, for us, it's important not to have a time program. I don't have 3 months and then you're back out there, because you could be 2 months in, and then if you only have a month left, you start worrying about where am I going to live, what am I going to do, what am I going to do when I get out of here, instead of working on yourself. And for some of these people, they have years and years of trauma. That's not going to go away after 2 months. So for everybody, it's different. Some people had great childhoods, and then they lost somebody they cared about. Some people have, life was going good, things were going all right, and one of their infant children passed away. And that just took a really fast decline in their life, and they've never really quite recovered from it. But maybe they didn't have the right supports at the time to recover from it. But everybody has a different story, But the one thing I do find is underneath everything is trauma. There's some sort of trauma that's happened, something that's happened that's kept you there. It's not even put you there, but it's put you there and it's kept you there. Because a lot of it is your mindset. you know. And I think, like, when I meet people who are newly homeless, it's like meeting a scared cat or dog. They don't know what to do. It's like, where do I sleep? Am I gonna get raped? Am I gonna get beat up? What do I do? Where do I eat? What do I do this? But after a time, it's, you go, okay, I gotta get up in the morning, I gotta go for breakfast here, and then after that I gotta go for lunch, and then after that I can go to the library for a couple hours, or go grab cans or whatever, and then I gotta be here for supper, and then I gotta be at the shelter at this time, then I gotta be in bed at this time. It becomes every day a survival, and then it becomes habitual. And humans, we are creatures of habit and routine. So for a lot of them, how many times do you sit outside in the wintertime, freezing, where you can't feel your fingers, or you know you're sick and you're cold and you're hungry, before your mind breaks and you go, well, I guess this is my life. This is the way I'm going to deal with it, and then it becomes normalized. Homelessness to me is like sending someone to prison for a long time. You become institutionalized to that because it becomes normal to you. You know, it's just a daily struggle. It's not even a struggle anymore. I'm used to it. It's getting them out of those things. You know, teaching them, showing them that there's another way to live, a better way to live, the way you used to live, maybe, you know. And that's a challenge.
Jason, tell us the story about your sweatshirt.
Oh, this is a source of pride for me. I am a proud graduate of the University of Saskatchewan. I graduated in 2006 with a degree in public administration and policy.
So Jason, tell us how you went from being a university graduate to getting into addiction and the challenges that you had faced before coming here.
Okay, so I graduated university and I took a job. I'm very much a people person. I love an audience. So I got a job with an organization in Saskatchewan that involved me traveling the province and talking to school kids, covering the entire province. So literally, I lived the life of a very small scale rock star. So I found myself in front of an audience of people and loving it. I gobbled that up, and you get a sense of euphoria, high off of it, right? But then at the end of the school day, you come back to an empty hotel room, right, in a small town, and I was chasing that high, right? So I went out and did things that people in small towns in Saskatchewan do. I went to the bars, I chased girls, then I came back to my hotel room, and basically I drank myself to sleep every night, and that just continued on and on and on, right? And I've developed a really, really bad habit.
It was death coming to us, right?
Yes.
And how important is it that you both get to share this experience here together?
It wouldn't have worked if we did it separate.
Exactly what I was just about to say. Yeah, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him being here. You know, we made this mess together, we fixed it together. And that's just our history, right?
Yeah, a long one.
Yeah.
And when I wake up in the morning, it's still there. So that's amazing. You go to these homeless shelters and like they'll have lock boxes and stuff like that, but they don't have the manpower or security. Like as soon as you walk away, people are trying to steal what you have. There's like poor stealing from poor, and it doesn't make much sense, but that's what happens.
And you have a much greater sense of safety and security here?
Yeah, I never did not feel safe in the city, but yeah, I feel my stuff feels safer here. Like I like my clothes, and I couldn't keep nothing in town. Like you set it down and they walk away on you. Didn't matter what it was.
What was your day like before coming here?
I did a lot of walking. It was pretty miserable. The winter sucked. Yeah, just did a lot of sitting around outside, downtown Moncton.
Even in the wintertime?
Yeah, it was very, very sad.
Was there places for you to go when it got really cold out, or what was that like?
Well, there's the Hub and there's the Harvest House and stuff like that, but it's not somewhere anyone really wants to hang around. There's a lot of drugs and there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of things you don't want to be exposed to as a human being, right? Not a very good scene at all.
And then it went up for sale and we purchased it.
Wow.
So our goal is to, those bunkhouses are stage 1 basically. So for every person that I've ever met that was experiencing homelessness, their issues for homelessness were as unique as the individual themselves.
So why did you feel it was important to set this up at the farm?
Because I knew too many people that died. I know way too many people. I've been running the organization for 10 years. The first 7 years, I could probably name you on one hand the amount of people that I know that have passed away from a drug overdose. In the last 3 years, I could probably name you 120, 130 people. And like I said, like last year when we ran the shelter, from December 19th till June 30th, myself, not including any of the staff or any of the people that were staying at the shelter or any of the volunteers, just myself, I had administered Narcan or CPR 87 times. And when you see somebody that's blue or gray on the ground and they're not breathing, and you bring them back to life, and they look at you and they're like, I need help, but you can't give them anywhere to get that help because it's like, but you have nothing, because there is nothing. There's, can you wait 8 months to a year before you die? Hopefully, but maybe not, because in that time, like, we've lost a lot of people that were on the waiting list just for here. So I guess it was just, seeing the need and trying to fill it, because there's too many people that I care about and that I love and that I built relationships with over the years who still deserve to be here.
Currently, how many bunkhouses and how many guests do you have at the farm?
So currently right now there's 18 guests. We're waiting for a few more to get through detox, and then they'll be filled. In total we have 21 bunkhouses, but some of those bunkhouses are filled with couples. So there'll be actually more than 21 residents on the farm here shortly.
Can you guys tell us how your life has changed since you arrived here at the farm?
Everything has changed for both of us. Like our thought patterns, everything. Like, this place is amazing.
For me, it's more of being out here. It's more zen. Being downtown, it's hectic, and you're always caught in that circle, that vicious circle of addiction. So out here, it gives you time to breathe, relax, find yourself, center yourself. We have beautiful country around us, our river's right there. We have so much to do. We have so much in our lives that is coming up, We have a lot of opportunity here, and just excited to be here.
Yeah, it gives us an opportunity to do what we want.
Yeah, be who we want to be.
Not be in that same situation we were in before, because it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Of course there's a need for more bunkhouses, so at what stage are you at right now in building those?
Well, we have the 21 bunkhouses built, but eventually what we want to do is we want to redo our big building over there so that we can put 14 apartments in there, and then eventually build full-size tiny homes on the property. So at that point, when someone's working or they have a job and they're going back and forth, they have a place to live while they're still trying to get ahead and move forward in life. So it's kind of like we set it up in stages, because for everybody that I know that's been homeless, their issues for being homeless are as unique as the individual themselves. And for us, it's about working with them, because they all have different needs. Like, we have people here that we're working with that can't read and write. So to teach them how to read and write is giving them power back in their own lives. It's giving them control over their own lives. So it's just little things like that, right? So for us, we try to take an individualized approach for everybody here so that we can find their individual needs and then give them the tools they need so that they can be successful in life and move forward, so that they don't return back to our streets or back to the shelter system.
Tell us about your bunkhouse.
My bunkhouse. That is it, number one right there. That was the first one built, and it's very comfy and cozy for me. They allowed us to make it as homey as we want. So yeah, it's a lot better than where I was.
It's 10 by 8, and there's no bathroom or nothing, but there's a fridge, and I've got a laptop and stuff. You can take a look at it if you like. It's everything you need. It's warm, and it's a whole lot better than the side of the road.
I love my room.
Yeah.
I love my room.
It's good to have your stuff and nobody's stealing it no more.
Right, honestly.
Yeah,
you don't
you
have
don't
to
go to
worry.
bed worrying about it.
Nothing. And I feel absolutely safe. As soon as I shut my door and I know it's locked, I can pass right out. I know that no one's going to be lurking, no one's going to be creeping. I know it's just animals and me out there. It's just animals, and everybody else is chilling. And
Everybody keeps
I don't know, we got it
themselves.
pretty good here. Like, we have a good bunch here, and like I respect everybody here, and
We're
everybody,
on the streets with all of them
yeah.
that were here.
So like, I don't know,
And
it's
just
just
like
so
us.
comfy. Even the staff makes you feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, it's a family here. It's more family oriented than anything. You know, it is a big happy family here. Like, we're all working on each other, or on ourselves to like get somewheres, and it's just awesome.
And doing it together is the game-changing thing.
Oh yes,
for
yes.
everybody.
Being able to like be in my own place, you be in your own space, work on it ourselves, and then each other at the same time is a blessing. Because nowhere else would have ever given us this opportunity, and I don't think anywhere else, if Charlie didn't do this, we'd still be where we were at, and God knows where that would be.
'Cause I don't think anywhere else has couples.
No, me either.
Anywhere.
Me either.
No. So we're blessed to be here.
Very,
For sure.
very.
How have the lives of the guests changed since being here?
For the things I see is I see some of them, you know, reconnecting with their parents or reconnecting with their families or their children. I seen a gentleman, his dad came here. His dad hadn't talked to him in 4 years. He thought he was dead. He didn't know where he was. He hadn't heard from him. And when he got here and he got clean and sober, he called his dad. His dad's come over twice and sat down and watched movies and had supper with them all and hanging out and stuff like that. And I've seen other people that have had their kids here and their kids have come to visit them. And you know, it's a positive impact. It's a very positive impact. You know, to be able to think straight and not have to worry and start working out a plan on what you want to do. Like everybody that comes here, the first thing we do is we get them in for appointments for blood work, dentists, doctors, ear, eye appointments, because they've neglected their own health for so long that, you know, like they need new teeth, or they need a set of glasses, or a couple of them they need hearing aids. And it's about getting those things. So it's just like a step-by-step process to get them to where they want to be. But you have to sit with every person and be like, hey, what are your goals? What is it you want to accomplish to be successful? Not what you or me deem as success, but what they deem as success in their own lives. For some people, it's just getting up every morning with a smile on their face and not having depressive thoughts. For other people, it's I want to eventually get a car and get a job again. For some other people, it's I want to see my children and I want to see my parents, you know, I want to fix those connections that have been missed over the years. So it's an individualized process really for everybody. But the idea is to strive from being homeless to being happy. And that's what we try to do, is try to take people from homelessness to happiness, you know, and that's deemed on each person individually.
What was the process to build the bunkhouses?
Oh, it was a process because the idea has always been there. We've had the property for 3 years. So for us, it was just doing it dollar by dollar, person by person. At first, we only had 3 bedrooms in the little house that we were using, and we get people in there clean and sober, and when they moved on, we could get somebody else in. The bunkhouses this was actually an idea that I pitched to the city of Moncton back in 2015. So it's not like something that just happened overnight. It was a work in progress over the years, but once we had the land and we had the farm, it gave us a lot easier opportunity to approach them again with the idea. So yeah, it's been a work in progress. But I'm very fortunate that I have a team of people who believe in the cause and believe in these people having a better life, and they won't take no for an answer and they won't give up, you know. And I was very fortunate to have like Unifor come in and provide the labor to be able to have these up. You know, the city of Moncton provided the funding to build them. The Unifor came in, helped us put them up in record time so that we could get people in here before winter.
Just helping people, it's a really good feeling to come back to and see that they made the winter, and it's a few more that survived the winter without undue hardship. Again, I, as my counterpart said, I'd like to come here and see twice the amount of buildings at the end of this year and again the next year, right? We keep growing.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's good to catch up with the folks that were here. We made a lot of friends here, and it's good to see, you know, obviously, it'd be nicer if there was triple the houses here to help, but it does feel good to see some folks, you know, get off the streets.
So Sandy, tell us why it was important for your union to take part in this project.
So with unions, in my opinion, is one of our big things is trying to set a higher standard for workers and just the general community, and part of that is spreading the wealth. So by getting involved, we get out there, we show people what we're about, and we give back to the community.
What jobs did you have with building these bunkhouses?
Basically from floor to ceiling, you know, from start to finish. We've done everything from lay down the foundation to extending the walls, putting the roofs on, installing the windows, siding, you name it.
Would you like to see other unions, private and public sector, take part in this project?
Absolutely. I'd like to see anyone that can get involved, get involved.
Why did your membership feel like it was so important to get involved with the Humanity Project here in Salisbury?
Well, the thing with Charlie is he seems to be offering something different, and it helps to think outside the box. A lot of the status quo doesn't seem to work. You know, what he's offering is from a grassroots standpoint. He understands the people, he knows what he's doing, and it's something different, and if it works, more power to him.
I think it all comes down to Charlie. Charlie's, you know, he has a different approach than maybe what others do, and it seems to be working.
So what roles do your members play here? Tell us about some of the workload.
So as far as workload goes, we tried to spread it around as best as possible. If we seen a need, we tried to fill it. We had people from straight up just cutting up the lumber to those that were building the walls ahead of the roofers. We had other people in the assembly line building the roofs. Really, we're all kind of had a hand on everything, but some of us found our niche, and we found those roles. And we had a slow start to begin with. These first 3 buildings were day 1, and then I think it was 6 after that. So we really picked up speed once we found our place.
Would the Unifor Union play a role again for this project?
I can definitely say that we're interested in helping everybody. You know, when we see a need, we fill it, and I would love to return here anytime.
Did Unifor make any financial contribution here as well?
Yes, we made some in the past, some donations here and there. Going forward, I hope to see more.
Do you see homelessness as a growing problem?
Exponentially growing. Every year it seems to be more tents, it seems to be more people on the sidewalks that haven't been there before. And if we don't get a rein on it soon, it's really going to get out of control.
We return to Rogers TV's special presentation. In this part of the show, we learn more about the Humanity Project and meet some of the others who help here at the farm.
We're going to seed it, and then we got our 2 cows coming.
Okay. Tell us about the role that you play here.
So I'm a nurse practitioner with Horizon, and I work out of Salis Clinic. We also do outreach in the Moncton area. While we do outreach, we also meet individuals that are also getting into the farm or the Josh Project. So sometimes we connect with Charlie or vice versa. If they need healthcare services before they come in, or substance use replacement therapy, we kind of help bridge the gap that way before they settle in with the farm. Yeah.
Did you find that there was a lot of resources available when you were looking for help to get out of the struggle of addiction, or was it difficult to even get access to services?
It's pretty difficult to get access to services when you're struggling with addiction, for sure. Since I've been here, though, like I've got in touch with mental health and psychiatrists and all that stuff. It's a lot easier to do here than it is out there.
So tell us about some of the common health needs that you've witnessed.
So over the years doing outreach, there's a lot of mental health and substance use, of course, a lot of wound care, primary health care. We do a lot of also women's health, men's health, you name it. We kind of do a bit of everything. Hep C treatment, so we really do everything that you would see from primary health care perspective. So COPD, so lung disease, heart disease, and we sometimes try to also connect them with their provider. So we know that sometimes it's not just a patch, but we connect with them, but we want to make sure they reconnect with their providers and healthcare services, that because they've had fallen into the cracks, because sometimes they don't have a phone or a cell, so it's hard for them to keep their appointments. So we make sure that we also engage with the social workers and the navigators to help them kind of connect the gaps.
So are there any other specific concerns, such as dental health challenges?
So yes, there are some dental health, and again, it's always to to get to their appointments. If they have social assistance, usually it's covered under their coverage. But again, it's getting there, and yeah, it's really a challenge for them to survive and also go to various services that are all spread out, whether it's social needs or health needs. And sometimes it's more their acute needs that are dealt with because that's what's important that day.
So tell us about some of the changes that you've witnessed with the guests that you work with.
So there's some individuals that we've seen the positive changes definitely from leaving the streets, right, and getting shelter, just basic necessities. And really Charlie's team is really trying to help them get back on their feet with different programs and support. So it's really nice to see somebody, really struggling and trying to survive, and see, them being smiling and engaged in activities. So there's positive change that way.
And what have you witnessed with the addiction and the homelessness crisis?
So it's definitely increased, certainly over the last 4 years, I would say, even since the pandemic. It was always slowly kind of going up, but definitely over the last 4 years we have seen an exponential kind of increase in individuals experiencing homelessness, despite having many individuals that have lost their lives due to substances or just living on the streets. So there's been a big increase. Yes, and it's people are also more on the outskirts, or they're not just in the Moncton Centre. They're sometimes pushed more out on the outskirts, so they're more spread out in the Moncton area. As with the homelessness have increased, the number has increased, it's definitely the substance use as well. And as we kind of had discussed previously, usually people don't enter homelessness due to their substance use, but certainly it's definitely a struggle sometimes that they face when they're trying to survive the streets.
And have you seen a lot of, a lot of guests that you've worked with, have they transitioned from homelessness now over to the Joshua Project, the Humanity Project? Have you noticed an increase?
Yeah, well, he has, I think, 18 individuals right now. So definitely there's 18 less individuals that are now needing to they have shelter, they have everything they need. There's other individuals that have sometimes left, and some have found housing already. There's a few individuals that way. The community is very fortunate that the Josh Project exists, and other organizations that kind of thinks outside the box to kind of help individual exit and have homelessness and have a future.
Basically what we do is that we meet the people where they're at. So we go directly in the shelters in Moncton, try and create relationships with them, try and provide information on the available services, provide emotional support. And also we can sometimes provide accompaniment, because we know that trying to access services can be very difficult when you're living in the challenges of homelessness, whether it be difficulty getting to your appointments, navigating time, and just, having to worry about your belongings being stolen, things like that. So we provide support to try and coordinate all those things, and again, at the rhythm of the client.
Have you witnessed an increase in the need for your services recently?
Definitely. I think that it's evident that the population of homelessness is increasing in Moncton. So with that comes a lot of challenges of mental health and addiction services. So which is why we're a new team that came in. So I think that the need was evident in there.
And what would you say to individuals who say that this is a choice for these individuals? This is the choice that they're making.
I think that it's important that we note that these are real people with real life experiences. So a lot of individuals have gone through difficult challenges. Many have past trauma, difficult life events that they've gone through. And sometimes an event can be the loss of a job, the loss of someone that they love. And then when you find yourself into homelessness, it can be difficult to navigate all those challenges altogether. What Charlie here is doing is a very positive thing. It helps create a positive outlook on homelessness. It certainly seeing what has been done here the last year provides a calm environment for people to heal, something to look forward to, something to get engaged into, and really just a positive community.
For us, unlike a typical rehab, let's say, that has to treat the symptoms of addiction, we have to treat the symptoms of addiction, and then we have to treat the symptoms of homelessness. Because for a lot of them, it's relearning the skills and to what me and you would call basically more of a normal way of thinking or a normal way of living. It's getting them out of survival mode.
So Jason, tell us what life is like since you've arrived here.
Oh, it's been amazing. I've been here about a year, so you know, just coming into this environment from the city. I come from a small town in Saskatchewan, right? So farming was part of my life. I grew up doing it, and I realized how much I missed it once I got out here.
So what is your daily routine here now?
Well, we get up at, I get up at 9:30. We go in at 10. We have our group. Sometimes it's conversations, sometimes it's games. It's all fun and it's all good stuff. And then we'll go to our goes. We'll go to the pigs. We'll go down the river. We'll go for walks. We go for our lunch at 12:30. Our supper's planned. Everything's basically planned out. Our Wi-Fi's on at 7, so we can go relax at 7 till people stay up till 1. But basically that's
it's good catching up on sleep.
Yeah. And it's good having a lot of people around. I find I love it when new people come in just so that I can talk to them and help them out, try to feel comfortable, because I remember when I first came here, I wasn't comfortable. It was hard to sleep, it was hard to get on with everybody, but then you just get into the, routine of not, being so mad all the time that you open up to people, and now I have friends here and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Staying in your routine too.
Yeah.
When new people come, we're happy to see new faces, old faces that come that were just like us, right?
Yeah.
And if they can see us doing it, I was a drug addict for 25 years. If I can do it, they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I figure. I can be an impact for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Charlie does it every day.
Every day, yeah,
Every
he
day.
does, he does.
Usually I get up in the morning, and it's a bit different now that there's some people out here to help, which is amazing. But in my year that I was here, I'd get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning and go out and feed the animals, which was, for me, that was very therapeutic. And now that there's some more people here, there's some more structure, there's some counseling, there's some therapy, and I mean, just look at behind us here. We have all the, nature.
Get up in the morning, do the breakfast. Every day, twice a week, they do group sessions where they do group activities, and it could be, one day it could be art. They all do art together. Another day it could be about addiction or mental health. It could be different sessions. And then they all do their own personal counseling sessions. And then, for a lot of them, some of them like building stuff, like the flower boxes over there. Some of them like hanging out with the pigs and the goats and taking care of that stuff. Some of them like cooking in the kitchen. So it's about finding things that they like and then moving them towards it. There's 2 girls that are here now. They can't wait for us to till up a spot for the garden. That's all they want to do. That's all they talk about is want to garden. I'm like, perfect, because I don't like picking weeds. So if you do, that's great. And you just kind of gravitate towards the things they like to do. So it's different every day, really. And then you have your doctor's appointments and stuff in between that you're getting them to and moving them to all the time and stuff like that. But yeah, and it's laid back.
We got a group in the morning. We have to go to that, but other than that, it's just trying to fill a day. And what they're trying to do is, if we need to talk to somebody, we can talk to somebody. But mainly right now, they're just trying to get just getting our ID. That took me months just to get my ID back, and the red tape's crazy. And it's foolishness. You gotta have meetings to see if you're gonna have another meeting, type of thing. It's just stupidity, and they wonder where their money goes. If you're gonna, Charlie here is just amazing. His whole family's amazing. They they don't ask for handouts, but they'll take them. You know what I mean? But all they want to do is help people. They're not driving around in these extravagant cars and stuff like that. He'll give you his shoes off his feet if you need them. Yeah. And he's rare. He's rare. The whole family's rare. They're amazing people. I've got nothing bad to say about them. So that's pretty much it about that. So I don't know. I'm just glad I'm a part of it. Like I'm lucky. There's 21 places here, and I got one of them. So you know, I'm a lucky person as far as I'm concerned. And they're really helping me, especially when it comes to my son and stuff. They're bending over backwards to do things to help me get him back. So anyways, that's all I got to say about him.
I'm gonna just line it up where the poles are going.
Who are some of your supporters and what were their roles?
Well, our supporters are the public. You know, we've always been, other than when we ran the shelter in this project this time, we've always been community funded. It's always been community businesses and communities like, you know, Extreme Doors and Windows gave us all the doors and windows, and you know, Terrace Refrigeration got us all the heat pumps at cost. And it was just different people and different companies that were all putting in together to try to make this happen, you know, because that's the thing. We all have something to give, you know, whether it's our time, our knowledge, our resources, we all have something to give to fix this problem. I don't think there's anybody out there who genuinely wants to see people living on the streets, but a lot of people just don't know how to help, you know, and then when you give them an outlet and you show them what you're doing and they go, hey, I have some doors and windows, or I have this, or I have that, then they can come and help you out and be part of the solution.
Describe the farm and the property here.
It's a magical place. It's a magical place unlike any other. It's you know, it's a constant work in progress. Like, it's, when people come here, we don't want them to feel like they're in an institution or a rehab. We want them to feel like they're at home, because for the people that we're serving here, they haven't had a home in a very long time. So to be able to have a place where you feel like you're at home and you're part of a community and you're helping out, like most of the people here are now trained on using the tractor. They're getting ready to put a gazebo in here. We're going to build a deck off of here. You know, it's a constant work in progress, but it's a constant work in progress to make this better for all of us, you know, because not just for us. And they know that too. It's not just for us. It's for the people that are still out there on the streets that we need to help. You know, when we go to put in, eventually one day we'll have greenhouses over here, and we'll be using them to produce our own food, not only for here, but for our building downtown, and also some of the other organizations that are food insecure, so that it continues, the work that we do here continues to go back and help our friends that are still out there. You know, so it's, yeah, I don't know of any other place that's like this. You know, there's lots of places that if you have money, you can go get help, but there's not many places that if you're homeless and on the streets and you have nothing, where you can go get the same quality of care and feel like part of a community.
So how many volunteers and how many staff are required here daily, and what are their roles?
Volunteers are, we book volunteers, because for volunteers to come here we have to make sure they have like a vulnerable sector check, stuff like that. And we usually do it when we have like big projects like cleaning out that spot or building something. We'll get a bunch of people here. For staff, it's usually 3 to 4 at a time that are here. And then you have some that pop in, like myself. I just kind of pop in and out between here and our other location. And then, yeah, they all do different things. Like they're in there just now making doctor's appointments and setting people up right now. And then other people are cooking and getting stuff ready. And then other people will be over there building. It's actually probably more like, I would say on a daily basis, probably like 4 to 8 staff, depending on what's going on and who's all on the property.
Overall, how do you feel that the Humanity Project has helped Moncton and the whole area?
I think it's been a huge help. I think that if we weren't feeding 200 to 300 people a day, crime would be a lot higher, because when people have to go in and steal to feed their children, you know, from a grocery store, or they have to sell their body on the street so that they can buy themselves a meal, I think it leads to a lot more problems. I think people think a lot more rationally and a lot better when they are healthy and when they're feeling healthy. I think that if we never had this place, you would have a bunch of people that would be on our streets right now that aren't. And if you come here in a couple of years from now and we have that building going and we have all those tiny homes, you're going to see a lot of people that would be on our streets that aren't. You know, I think it's a, like, I know I founded it, but I think it's a huge resource for our city, you know, because we've opened our doors in the wintertime 5 times and turned our building downtown into a shelter because we didn't want anybody to freeze to death outside. How many people didn't die in those 5 winters that would have died outside? You know, I just think there's not enough resources and there's not enough help out there for the people that want it. So I think every little bit of help from any organization is welcomed. But I think our organization has been a huge help to the city of Moncton. You know, because we're very adaptable. We're always adapting to the situation. You know, when I started off, the drug problem wasn't out of control as bad as it is today. But after seeing it happen and watching it happen, we adapted. And then it brought us to this project. You know, in 10 years from now, there might be something else that we're going to adapt to, and we're going to move towards that because we just want to keep helping people. You know, we have a slogan for our organization. It's called People Helping People, and that is what it's all about.
We return to Rogers TV's special presentation. I'm Gonzuela Bastarache, and in the final part of the show, we learn more about the future plans of the Humanity Project. So what's in store for you guys? What are your next steps?
My main goal is getting an apartment. So for right now, you know, we work on ourselves, keep our rooms tidy, and then we go to the room. And then eventually I want to work for these people, you know what I mean? Like, they're getting older and they need young ones to come in, you know what I mean? And like, I want to do what they're doing, you know what I mean? I want to be with the next bunch, you know? I want to help them. I want to be here and not go anywhere. I don't want to leave this place. It's just amazing here.
It's our home.
It's our home. We made it our home, and it's official.
So if your present self could talk to your past self, what would you tell past Jason?
First of all, I would tell him, well, in the depths of my addiction, like it seemed like there was no hope. There was no way to get out of it. But there is a way. There is always a way. It's just a matter of finding good, supportive people to talk to, and that's the thing. You need to talk about it because if you keep it inside, it will eat you up and destroy you. And like I said, I found these people and I talked, and I'm much better for it.
What is your reaction to Charlie, the staff, and the volunteers who help out here?
Oh, they're amazing. Like they just, like I said, they'll bend over backwards. All they want to do is help, and that's rare. Usually people are out for themselves, and these people aren't. Like, they're not.
So how has Charlie and the staff here inspired you? But it sounds like they've inspired you to want to.
Oh, most definitely.
Continue on.
They're great.
I think it's
people.
awesome to be in Charlie's dream, pretty much.
Honestly, we
Like,
are.
we're in
I
his
felt
head.
like I put my name in a draw and I finally won something. Because honestly, like, being here is like winning the lottery. It's just, or even more than that, honestly.
Yeah, we got
Friends,
our life
family, our nature, our safe place to be. $1 million couldn't even do that for me, you know what I mean?
No other
Like,
places do this. They'll kick you out in 9 months, and where
Yeah,
do I go
yeah.
now?
Like, these people make money here working, but at the Humanity Project in town, it's all volunteers. Like, Charlie don't take pays, and his mother doesn't take a pay here, and she does more work than all of them. So, you know, it's just they have to take a pay here. They got to survive. You know what I mean? But they're not out for money or nothing like that. They buy stuff. They buy stuff out of their own pocket if they need to. Like, when we first got here, they give us tablets so we had something to do. Well, they bought them with their own money, like the staff members did, and that's just, you know, it's not normal. You know, it is what it is.
My goals are to maintain a sober life and be there for my children and just be the best I can be.
It makes you feel like there is still some good out here, you know what I mean? It's not much of it, but there's some.
The property used to have all trees here, and we put 70 pigs in through here, and they cleared all the trees out, cleared everything. So what we're gonna do is once the ground dries up, we'll level it out, we'll seed it, and then we have a couple cows that are pregnant. They'll be coming in here, and then we'll be having baby cows in August, I think they're due.
How challenging is it to fundraise, and where do those funds go to?
Well, so for us, fundraising is probably the hardest thing, especially in today's times. Like, you know, when people are having a hard time feeding their own families or keeping a roof over their head, donations go down, and it makes it a lot harder to fundraise. For us, where do our donations go? 100% of all of our donations go directly into two things: our building downtown or the farm here. You know, none of our donations pay for staff or anything like that. So for us, every dollar that we get, we usually either try to put it into making our buildings better, redoing things, or putting it directly into like cost of food, paying the propane in our buildings, like, you know, to keep the stove on or to keep the lights on, just stuff like that. But as far as fundraising is always a challenge. It's always a challenge because that's the thing, like, you give me $30,000, I can do so much. I can put a new roof on that building. You give me $3 million, I'll redo that whole building over there and probably build a bunch of tiny homes over there because I'll have the funding to do it. So like for us, it's like everything grows over time. I know this. I know when we got this property and we had the idea of what we were gonna do, I didn't know how we were gonna do it. None of us did. But our organization has an attitude where it's not a matter of if something's going to happen. It's a matter of when it's going to happen. Because as long as we don't give up and we keep focusing on our goal, we will get there. You know, it's like that big building. I want to put 14 apartments in there. Is that going to take a year? Is it going to take 5 years? Or is it going to take 6 months? It all depends on what funding we have and where it comes and how fast we can get it to keep building. But I do know, like, the ultimate goal is to get that done and get the tiny homes. And I know eventually we will get there. You know, so it's just, we put everything back into our community.
And you had mentioned earlier that most of the funding comes from just donations from individuals. You've had some funding from the City of Moncton. Have you gotten provincial and federal funding for any of the projects?
I've never received federal funding. I've had funding from the province for this project and the city for this project, but 90% of our funding before that, or 100% of our funding before that, was all public donations. So, you know, we run a weekly 50-50 draw, and we hold little fundraisers every once in a while. We sell t-shirts and hats and different things, and that all goes back into either here or our building downtown. And fundraising's hard too. It's hard because when you're trying to find people on the streets and help them, and you're trying to concentrate on the work you're trying to do, it's hard to take, you know, 10, 15, 20 hours a week to concentrate on fundraising when you're trying to concentrate on helping people and making sure they're fed or making sure they're housed or making sure they're getting the help they need. So that's another challenge about fundraising. You know, it's the time to do it.
What are your future plans for both the farm and for the main farmhouse?
Like I said, just keep expanding. Keep expanding. We have right now, I think there's like 72 people on a waiting list to come here. You know, so I can't build places fast enough to get enough people off the streets and get people to help, because that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people who were waiting for help and passed away and died. You know, they deserve that opportunity. It's not like they didn't want the help. It's not like they want to live out on the streets. It's just time ran out before they could get the help. And unfortunately, I think that's what drives us even faster and pushes us even harder, is because these people aren't a number. They have names, you know, they have kids and families and parents and people that love them and care about them. Like, some of the messages I get from parents are just heart-wrenching, you know, because they want their children back. They want to have them in their life, but they're so lost in their addiction and there's no place for them to go, you know, or there's no place that's like, you take somebody that's out on the streets for 10 years, get them off drugs. 3 months isn't going to be enough to help them. You know, they'll be back on our streets again. You know, they need long-term help. and they need to get their lives back. And a lot of people do want it. They just don't have the resources to make it happen. So I'm hoping that's what this place will be, you know, that we have enough spots here and enough place that we can get the people that want help the help they need and help them turn their lives around, because that's the ultimate goal.
So Charlie, for the average person that wants to help out, what can you say for those who would like to get involved?
Contact us, get a hold of us, you know, whether it's helping out here at our center downtown, we can always use the help. You know, there's tons of work to do. This is obviously a huge work in progress, and it's a big project we're taking on. So it's like I said earlier, I think we all have something to give to make a better community for all of us, you know, whether it's your time, your knowledge, your skills, whether it's monetary donations, whatever it is, we all have something that we can do to give back to our community to make it a better place for all of us.
And what areas do you have the most need for to support the Humanity Project?
It's different. For here, it's like building materials, stuff like that, to be able to keep moving forward. For the project downtown, it's a lot of, depending on the time of year, like in the wintertime, it's hats, gloves, hand warmers, stuff like that are our biggest needs, winter boots. This time of year, it's tents, sleeping bags, sneakers, food. We can always use food. It just depends on the time of season and what projects we have on the go and what we're doing. When you look back through time and you look back 10, 20, 30 years ago, the world was a completely different place than what it is today. And if you can think ahead in time, 5, 10, 20 years, it's going to be a completely different place than where it is now. And you have to decide on what kind of place you want it to be. And I think that the power for change is within all of us. And if we all collectively get together and work together towards a change, it'll happen. You know, it's kind of corny and it's kind of cliche, but it's be the change you want to see in the world. And I'm just a guy that started off with a backpack and a pair of socks, going out to find people and to help them, to keep them warm and keep them fed during the wintertime. And the power of one multiplied by many can create changes that you didn't even dream of. Like if 10 years ago, when I went to hand out that first book bag to somebody, if somebody would have said, hey man, you hand out that book bag and you're gonna have 70 pigs and a bunch of goats and a farm and people living on it, I would have looked at them and, what are you talking about? You're crazy. But by getting together with my community and with people that were like-minded and cared about the issue as much as I did, anything's possible. You know, and I truly believe that because I see it. I started with nothing except the love in my heart, and that's all I had. And from that, it grew. You know, I found other people who had that same love and that same passion and that same drive. And together, we're making changes in our community because the power for change is within all of us.